بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about Qa'idatul la dharar, the rule of no harm. The next point in the book is اختلاف صيغة الحديث. There are different versions of this hadith. As you remember, we said there is a version which says لا ضرر ولا ضرار على مؤمن. There is an addition of على مؤمن. And the author Sheikh Irwani says that this is not very strong, hadith. So it's not been proved through authentic and reliable chain of narrator. Then we have some versions, if you remember the last thing I said last session was, which says لا ضرر ولا ضرار في الإسلام. This is very important. There is an addition of fil Islam. In the whole religion of Islam, we don't have dharar and dhirar. In some versions, it says la dharara wa la idrar. Instead of la dhirar, there is la idrar. Okay? In some Sunni sources, we have la dharara wa la dharurata. Instead of dhirar, we have la dharara wa la. Of course, they have la dharara wa la dhirar, but they have also this la dharara wa la dharurata. Dharura means like emergency, And in some of them, they have la dharara fil Islam. So the second part is not there. La dharara fil Islam. So there has been a discussion. The result of this discussion is that la dharara wa la dhirara fil Islam is something that you cannot easily dismiss it. Because one of ulama, Sheikh al-Shari'ah, rahmatullah alayh, he was saying that this version which has fil Islam is not very strong, because he said he has made a very careful examination and research, and he said lam ajid riwayata asl al-hadith illa an ibn Abbas wa an Ubadat ibn Samit. He says the root, the very origin of this hadith, it's only from Ibn Abbas and from Ubadat ibn Sabit, and that has no fil Islam. But Sheikh Irwani says there are other narrations in which they have this fil Islam. For example, in riwayat of Abi Lubaba, in riwayat Jabir ibn Abdullah, from Sunni sources. In Shia sources, we have in Saduqs, Man la yahduruhu al-faqih, this addition of fil Islam. Of course, the problem with what Saduq has mentioned is that it is mursal. Some people have tried to say, although it is mursal and the name of Imam is not mentioned, but it is still reliable, but some have questioned it. But he says it's not only Saduq. Also, Ibn Abi Jumhur al-Ahsa'i fi Awal al-La'ali has mentioned this, and also Sheikh al-Tusi fi Kitab al-Khilaf, and Allah Mahalli fi Kitab al-Tadhkirah. So it's not something that you can easily dismiss it. Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we have La Dharara wa La Dhirara fil Islam narrated by both Sunni and Shia, and some even have said maybe we can say it's a kind of tawatur about this issue. So there is a very detailed discussion in the book about whether we can authenticate the mursal of Sheikh al-Saduq, because he says qala and he doesn't say ruwiya. So when he attributes to Imam, even if something is missing in the chain, it means that he was sure, he was certain. There are lots of discussions here. I don't want to go into that discussion. So basically what is important is that we have different versions, and both Sunni and Shia have this version which says fil Islam. We move on to the next important point for us, and that is توضيح مفردات الحديث. After we talked about the argument for this hadith and some versions, now we want to explain the terms which are mentioned in the hadith. What does la dharar mean? What does la dhirar mean? The meaning of dharar and dhirar. In Arabic is 112. So, what is dharar? Many people have said dharar means loss in money or body or reputation. النقص في المال أو البدن أو العرض. In your reputation, earth or badan, body, or money, mal. And some people have said it should be that much of loss that puts the person in a difficult condition. So if it is a little loss, some people have said this is not called dhara. For example, a millionaire who loses 10 pounds, they don't say it is dharar. But Sheikh Irwani says there is no reason to exclude any loss is dharar. Maybe this dharar is not considerable, is laysa mu'tad, la yu'tad bihi, but it's a dharar. Something that he himself adds is that dharar is not only with respect to money or body or reputation. In fiqh, we have something else which is very important, and that is huquq, certain rights that you have. And these rights are not, exactly equal to money, but they have financial value. Okay? For example, suppose you have rented a place. This place does not belong to you, but you have the right for using it. If someone doesn't let you to use the house that you have rented, this is zarar in your haqq, because you are not able to use your haqq. It's not directly about money. Yeah? Or if you have, say, for example, haqq al-shuf'a, and they don't let you to use this haqq. The other partner sells it to other people without your knowledge, without giving you a chance to buy it. So this is dharar. although it is not in money or body or reputation. Okay? So even huquq, rights, are also important. Of course, he says, sometimes we may have issue with certain rights. We may not recognize them as rights. For example, he seems not to be in favor of copyrights for intellectual properties. He doesn't accept that, for example, a publisher who publishes a book has the right to have sole control. This is his idea, and he says other people can also use this. But if you believe in copyright, then again, not to be able to exercise and use it, it would be dharar. If you don't believe, then of course there is no right. So it's a matter of whether you believe in it as a right or not. But if you believe in something as a right, I think no one would doubt that rights also are added to money and body and reputation. Any harm, any denial of someone's rights is equal to harming him in money or body or reputation. So this is the meaning of dharar. Okay?
Can I ask a question? Well, how does Islam allow copyright?
According to some ulama, yes. But this is from Shari'i point of view. But if you live in a country that has made it illegal, then that's another issue. Okay? So if it is not made illegal in that country, from Shari'i point of view, many marajas say there is no copyright, and some say there is.
They basically say that you should hold to the rules which are in the country you are in.
Yeah, so that's another thing. That's another observation. For example, in Iran right now, there is copyright law, but it's mostly for those things which are produced inside. But for the things which are produced outside, I don't think there is legal ban to reproduce. But if you follow a marja who believes in copyright, you don't have, from the state any legal prohibition. But if your marja says you cannot do this, then you should observe it.
So what about the other way around?
It can be also other way around. Then you have to, if your marja says no problem, but there is a legal issue, then normally the idea is that you have to observe the law of the country where you stay.
But sometimes copyright can infringe on the rights of the person. Supposing the copyright is for something which is a news which is essential to the public.
Yeah.
Can we stop from going to the public because of copyright?
That's another issue. That's privacy.
But supposing, for example,
Someone cannot say, I have copyright over your private life.
For example, if it's a new
No one can publish it. I have right to publish it. No, even you don't have right to publish someone's private life.
Supposing there's a new drug which is, for example, diabetes, which allows urine to pass through the
That's
kidney.
intellectual property.
So, and can it have a copyright for that? Because they try and...
According to some, yes.
They can do that?
According to some maraja, they can put copyright.
So it hurts a human being. If it's not allowed to go to everybody, it can hurt people.
No, that's another issue. I didn't get your question. I thought you mean,
Yeah.
is there any copyright on someone who has produced a medicine?
Yeah.
Yeah, but your question is, this medicine is harmful?
No, it will help most people.
Okay,
And not using it could harm some people.
Okay.
Many people.
Basically,
So
saying that
Yeah,
if
but
you don't
that-
allow it to be used, then it will harm people. Is that allowed?
so those who believe in copyright, they say this person has right over this formula. Okay? This is the primary rule. But then, if this person is misusing his right and endangering life of people, then we have la darara wa la dirara fil Islam.
And as well, Sheikh,
So it's like ihtikar. You know? For example,
yeah.
you have right over your goods, but there is a time of shortage. People need food. You have lots of food stored and you don't sell it. You want to increase the price. Here, the jurist who is in charge, Hakim Shar, can interfere and say, you don't have any more right to keep this good. When there is no shortage, okay, you can store as much as you like. But when there is shortage and people need, Hakim Shar interferes and says, you have to sell. And maybe if he doesn't sell, he himself sells with the fair price. So we have a primary rule. Any person who produces a medicine, primary rule is, according to those who believe in copyrights, okay, you have control over this. But if he is misusing and he is trying to charge people too much, or is going to, for example, put life of people in danger, then Hakim Shar can get into this. Yeah.
This is actually an issue here, Sheikh.
Yes.
Many times, products which are produced in USA, for example, they put a kind of international patent on that product.
Yes.
So
So if you believe in copyright, so the primary situation is you have to respect this. But a time may come that a secondary observation can come, and that is he is misusing this and putting life of people in danger. Okay? Of course, if this is in a Islamic environment, if it is other laws, then the law of the country may get into this. They say, we don't let you to pressurize people. So this is about dharar. So dharar is any loss, whether it be in money or body or reputation or even rights. It can be small, it can be big. This is the meaning of dharar. Okay? Now, what is dharar? Because we said la dharara wa la dhirara. What is dharar? To explain this, we need to remind you of a distinction in Arabic grammar between masdar and ism masdar. Of course, the idea can be found in any language, but the names are different. In Arabic, we have masdar, which is about an action being done by an agent. Okay? But Ismul Masdar, or as we say, Hasilul Masdar, is just the action disconnected from the agent, from the doer. Okay? For example, ghasl, what does it mean? To wash. Ghasl means to wash. Someone is washing. But ghusl is the result. It's just you focus on the action. Ghusl. Yeah? So like washing. Or for example, to steal and theft. Theft is different from to steal. Okay? So in Arabic, we have sometimes the same word used for masdar and ism masdar. Like ilm. Ilm can mean to know. Ilm can mean knowledge. Knowledge is ismul masdar. Okay? Means the act itself, not connected to the agent. But you say to know means there is an agent, a subject. So in Arabic, sometimes we use one word for both masdar and ism masdar, like ilm, like qatl. Qatl may mean to kill, or qatl can mean killing or murder. Sometimes in Arabic they use two words. For example, itlaf and talaf. Itlaf means to waste, to damage. Talaf means wastage. Or for example, ghasl and ghusl, as I said. Or naf' and manfa'. Naf' means to benefit. Manfa' means benefit. The useful, effect of something. In Farsi, sometimes we use extra letters to make ism masdar. For example, we say guftan means to speak. Guftar is a speech. To speak and a speech. Guftan is to speak, is masdar. Guftar is speech, is ism masdar. Okay? Raftan and ravish. You can say also raftar, but ravish or raftar. Kushtan and kushtar. Okay? So you understand, there is masdar and ism masdar. Dharar is masdar. Dhirar is ism masdar. This is one meaning of dhirar. So dhirar is used sometimes as, dhirar is masdar and zarar is ism masdar. Dhirar is used as masdar for sulasi mujarrad sometimes. Dharra yadhurru, dharran وذراراً. ثلاثي مجرد. ذر يضر ذراً وضراراً. And ضرر is اسم مصدر. But also it can be used for باب مفاعلة. Because باب مفاعلة also sometimes its master comes on فعال. Like قتال. قتال is not ثلاثي مجرد. قتل يقتل قتلا، قاتل يقاتل مقاتلة وقتالا. Like جاهد يجاهد مجاهدة وجهادا. This is مفاعلة. So ضرار can be master for ثلاثي مجرد. ضرار can be master for ثلاثي مزيد فيه من باب المفاعلة. Okay? For both of them in Arabic dictionaries you find dhirar. And dharar is ism masdar. So here there's a discussion. If it is from bab mufa'ala, what does it mean? If it is from sulasi mujarrad, it's clear. Means no act which produces harm and no result are recognized in Islam. You cannot harm and no harm is accepted. Ism masdar and masdar. But if it is from bab mufa'ala, what does it mean? Some people have said it means musharaka. Means you harm and he harms. Musharaka. Like muqatala. Muqatala is when two people are killing each other, trying to kill each other. At the end, maybe one of them manages to kill the other, but they were both involved in the act of fighting and killing. Okay? You remember we had the hadith about al-Qatil wal-Maqtul. Both of them are in hell. Why? Because even the one who didn't want to kill, the one who was killed wanted to kill. The intention was to kill. We had it in Mahajjatul Bayda, you remember? Yes. So, Bab al-Musharaka means you cannot harm another person and he harms you. But Shaykh al-Shari'a Aswani, who has lots of discussion about Qadi al-Dharar, he said, I don't believe that Bab al-Mufa'ala is used for Musharaka. Something which is very often mentioned in the books of grammar. He denies and he said, I have studied Quran from the beginning to the end and I didn't find any case Bab al-Mufa'ala is used for Musharaka. Okay, whether his claim is correct or not, there is a valid point here. We don't agree with him about this general claim, but there is a valid point here that in the case of Samura, Ansari was not harming him. He was only harming Ansari. So what does it mean to say Musharaka? If you say Dharar means Musharaka, who was harming? Ansari? No. Only this person was harming. That person said, you have right to use, but please just inform me and seek permission. He didn't say, I don't let you also to use your tree. If he was trying to harm him, and that person also was trying to harm him, this is Musharaka. Okay? So, we have to find a meaning, good meaning for it. If Dhirar is from Bab Mufa'ala, it doesn't necessarily mean Musharaka. Sheikh Irwani refers to some verses of the Quran, and based on that he says, Mufa'ala can be for Musharaka. But in the case of Dharar, when we have Dhirar, Dharra, Yudharru, Mudharratan, wa Dhiraran, he says it can mean intentional harming. Or some harming which is repeated. Means it was not something that happened once. It's a systematic or intentional. If you look at these verses, I don't know if you have it in front of you. Verse 231 of Surah Baqarah. إذا 231 Surah Baqarah. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ. This is about those who divorce their wife. At the end says, if they have reached their ajal, after they had their iddah, فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ. Either keep them or let them go. لَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا. Do not hold them and keep them ضِرَارًا, in order to harm them. Okay, ضِرَار. Does it mean that that lady is also harming this person? No. Only this man is harming that woman. And Allah says, don't harm that woman. Okay? Verse 107 of Surah Tawbah. This is famous verse about Masjid al-Dhirar. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا مَسْجِدًا ضِرَارًا وَكُفْرًا وَتَفْرِيقًا بَيْنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. those who adopted a masjid for these reasons. One was to harm. One was as a kind of kufr, either disbelief or not being grateful, and tafriqan bayna al-mu'minin, to divide believers, and also irsadan, a place to find and hunt those who are enemies. Yeah, because this was a place to recruit bad people and enemies to work together. Anyway, masjidan dhiraran, they were definitely trying to harm believers. But were believers also harming them? No. So you cannot say it's mutual. It's not musharaka in that sense. Or, yes.
Could it be said that they thought that the believers were trying to harm them with their ideas and beliefs?
No. Allah is reporting about their intentions. So it seems that they were not trying to harm back with this message. They were just harming. Of course, you can maybe use that as a possible interpretation. وَلَا يُضَارَ كَاتِبٌ وَلَا شَهِيدٌ. The one who is registering and the one who is bearing testimony or witness, لَا يُضَارَ. Again, this doesn't mean that the person that they are witnessing and bearing witness about what he said or what he did, he is not harming them and then they are harming back. Yeah? La yudharra means la yadurra. Is it clear? Or in Surah Baqarah verse 233, La tudharra walidatun biwaladiha wala mawludun lahu biwaladih. A mother should not harm her child. Or a father should not harm his child.
Or actually, they shouldn't be abused with their child. يُضَارَ وَالِدٌ بِوَلَدِهِ. So they have used like the child to harm the father, or opposite, the other way around.
I don't think that's the interpretation. We can see tafsir, but I think
I've seen the same translation.
Really?
That a child should not be used against the father to harm his feeling, and same.
Maybe. I have to check the tafsir. But the point is clear. This is not mutual, because this person is not harming anyone. Okay? Either someone is harming this person over his child, or this person, but it's not reciprocated. Maybe that's the tafsir. I have to check the tafsir. So, the point is a grammatical point, that dharar is clear. It's ism masdar. Dhirar is masdar, either for dharar from sulasi mujarrad or masdar from bab mufa'ala. But even if it is bab mufa'ala, it doesn't necessarily mean reciprocation or mutual. It means harming intentionally, harming systematically, repeatedly. Okay? This is the idea. Now, after understanding the terms, now what is the meaning of this rule? Al-Maqsood, point 6 in the Arabic text. Al-Maqsood min qa'idat al-dharar. What is the meaning? What is meant by this? He mentions 4 opinions. I only mention the one that is the chosen, the al-Mukhtar, the one he prefers. Because again, it takes lots of time to go into all of them. What he chooses is that you find in page 130 after 12 pages. 130.
And which heading would it be?
The same heading.
Same heading.
He mentions 4 opinions, but then he says as-sahihu an yuqal after 12 pages. So we focus only on as-sahih, on the one that he thinks is correct. Okay?
The one he chooses.
He chooses.
76.
Yes.
In English.
So he says لا ضرر ولا ضرار should not be taken as synonymous, because some people have tried to take them as synonymous. No, he says they mean different things. What la dharar means, so he here prefers the idea of Sheikh Ansari. Of course, Sheikh Ansari wanted to say about all sentence, but he says only the first part. If you remember, when I was talking about the Qa'id, I mentioned the idea of Sheikh Ansari, that Sheikh Ansari wants to say in Islamic legislation, we don't have any legislation that harms. Remember? So, he says, La dharar is different from la dhirar. And each of them means something. So they are not synonymous. For la dharar, we follow the idea of Sheikh Ansari, rahmatullah alayh, and we say, in Islam, we don't have any place for causing harm to people. No legislation that would cause harm to people. Okay? So he says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he speaks as a lawmaker, or of course on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he is speaking. Allah is lawmaker, but even we said Rasulullah has been given also some space to make law. Anyway, as shari', as the lawmaker, either on behalf of Allah or those things that he has authority by Allah, when he says la dharara, when, for example, suppose in our worldly situation, if the parliament who makes the law says there is no harm, means there is no harm in legislation. We don't let any harm come in our legislation. So when Rasulullah says la dharara, means there is no law that which will bring harm to people. Okay? So he says, أن المقصود نفي تحقق الضرر في حق المكلف من ناحية التشريع. So the idea is no harm will be directed towards mukallaf, the individuals, through legislation. So this has nothing to do with Samura and that Ansari person. Relation between people, that's another thing. That's for the second part. The first part, la dharara, means in Islam, we don't have any legislation which is causing harm. Yes. Okay? Then he says something important also has to be taken into account. Are you 100% here? Not 99%.
No.
Okay. Because this is also a very important point, and I'm trying to make it simple. When we say there is no harm, okay, in Islam there is no harm, then some people have said Rasulullah here seems has gone further. Not only he has said there is no harm in Islamic legislation, and also he has said there is no permission to harm, he has gone one step further. La darar means no harm in legislation. La darar means you have no right to harm another person. But Rasulullah did something extra. Why? Because he didn't just say you have no right to visit your tree without permission. If he had just stopped there and said, no matter whether you are the owner or not, you cannot annoy this person and harm this person. Rasulullah went one step further. He said, remove his tree and throw it. So he went one step further. Sheikh Irwani says, this is the practical implication of banning harming. Because if we wanted to be just following the theory, we could have made this distinction. We say, no harm in Islamic legislation, and also in Islamic legislation, no permission to harm other people. Okay? We could stop here. But this is not going to solve this problem, because this person was very stubborn. And even if Rasulullah tells him, don't go and do this, which was obvious, he was not listening. Either Rasulullah had to appoint a policeman and say, whenever this person wants to go without permission, stop him or arrest him, which was not practical, and you cannot do this for every case. Or the only thing was that if he's insisting, take away his tree and throw at him. Okay? So, this is practical implication of having no place for harming. You understand? So we have gone one step further, but that's because we don't have any other choice. Otherwise, this will be useless, because people ignore this. They know that they should not. Do you think that Samura was really in doubt that he shouldn't do this? He knew that this is wrong.
Samura bin Jundub or somebody else?
Yes.
Pardon?
Samura bin Jundub.
Yeah. So he was not in doubt, or he didn't think that Islamically this is okay. The problem was he didn't want to listen. So, therefore, la darar means no harm comes in Islamic laws. La darar means no permission is given in Islamic legislation that you harm each other. Okay? And then we go one step further, we say, if someone is going to harm, we may practically stop that person. Okay? So, the next point, point 7. تطبيق الحديث على قضية السمرة. Now we want to apply this rule on the case of Samura. The reason we need this application is because Sheikh Ansari rahmatullah alayh has said, although la dhara wa la dhirar is clear, but he said we have difficulty in understanding why Rasulullah said to remove the tree. But he said that would not affect our understanding of the rule. But in that particular case, we don't know why Rasulullah said to remove. Some people have tried to answer by saying that, for example, maybe Rasulullah here made a decision as a hakim. He made a hukm. It's not just fatwa or legislation. It's a practical decision that Rasulullah made in a particular case as a hakim. So people have said different things. But according to what we have said, this problem that Sheikh Ansari raises is solved. We say to Sheikh Ansari with all respect that yes, if the problem was solved just by saying that there is no harm in Islamic legislation, and also you are not able to harm each other, the problem will be solved. But because that person is not listening, then Rasulullah had to go one step further and solve the problem by asking the Ansari to remove the tree. Okay? Okay. So this was about point 7. Then there is another point that Sheikh Ansari mentions. This is point 8. Some people like Sheikh Ansari have said, what should we do? Of course, he himself has answer, but he makes a question and then he tries to answer. That's a very important question. They say, La darar, according to this interpretation, means in Islamic legislation, we don't have any place for harm. It means people should not be harmed by the laws of Sharia. Okay? That's not about you harming someone else. It means laws of Sharia harming people. Sheikh Ansari says, but this may lead to takhsis akthar. If you remember in Usul al-Fiqh, we said takhsis al-akthar is not acceptable. When you say akram al-ulama, respect ulama, then you exclude. You can exclude 1 person, 2 persons, 3 persons, but if you say akram al-ulama, which are 100, and then you exclude 90 of them, Uqala say this is not a good way of, giving instruction. Takhsis aksar is not acceptable. Okay? Sheikh Ansari says, if we say there is no harm coming through Islamic legislation to mukallafin, then we need to exclude many things. For example, there is qisas. Sometimes in Islamic Sharia, we accepted to impose harm. Someone has killed another person, so we have the right of retaliation. Okay? So isn't this harm? Or someone has, for example, financially harmed someone. There is zaman. He has to give back. Okay? We have jihad. We have many difficult things in Islam. We have to pay khums. We have to pay zakat. We have to go for hajj. So, Islamic Sharia is not just few easy things. There are many, many legislations that involve lots of struggle, making efforts, losing money, and comforts. So, this is the problem. This is a question, the objection. Some have tried to answer in ways which are not very interesting. For example, they said, we exclude one title, although that one title can have majority of cases. This is not takhsis al-aksar, when only one title is excluded. For example, we say akram al-ulama. Then we say la tukram al-fussaq. Okay? We have excluded only one title, and that is those who are sinful. But maybe in some cases, majority of ulama are sinful. That's not the problem with our way of explaining. Okay? If we are in a context, in a city or in a place, in a time, that majority are sinful, there is no problem in saying akram al-ulama, la tukram al-fusaq min al-ulama, because this is a title, only one title. But I don't want to go to details. I only mention again the correct view according to Sheikh Irwani, according to the book. He says the whole problem that these people had in mind is they have not understood the philosophy of legislation. Falsafatut tashri'. They have not understood. They have looked at everything on an individual basis and not as a community. For example, he says, imagine a father who is supporting his family from every aspect. Okay? He tells his children that are working and they have good, financial situation, that you should also have some contribution to the cost of the family because you have small brothers and sisters who need help. I am providing you with everything, but you should also bring something to make the life for other people easier, especially your brothers and sisters who are very young. So should they feel that they are losing? They are gaining more. They have free accommodation, they have food, they have electricity, everything. But just say, give 20% of your extra income for the family, like khums. Okay? Or if one of them, for example, beats another one, we say he has the right for retaliation. Of course, it's better to pardon. These are not legislating harmful things. We are trying to make the community, or in this case, example, it was family, but then you can extend it to community. We have a nation, we have humanity. Everything is for benefit of the entire people. If we ask you to give zakat, don't think I am harming you because I am asking you to give zakat. Or for example, if we say, don't eat this poisoned food, don't say you are harming me. In Islam, if anything is prohibited, it's for yourself or for other people. There are things which are personal, there are things which are interpersonal, social, communal, but anything is for benefit, is for maslaha. You remember we had this before, that I told you Islamic legislation is based on masalih and mafasid. Yeah, interests to be secured and harms which should be avoided. Okay? So, this is very important. And he says, إن الإسلام ينظر إلى المجتمع الإسلامي كأسرة واحدة. Islam look at Muslim community as one family. And the shari, the legislator, is like head of this family and wants the best for family. He is not gaining anything. He is actually himself putting a lot into this. And then he says, even if we were supposed to organize a society and make necessary legislations, we would have done the same. As you see in many countries, even if they don't follow religion, still they do many similar things. So, alhamdulillah, we managed to finish the first 8 points. Inshallah, next session we will talk about شمول الحديث للأحكام العدمية.
which is in English.
That this hadith of لا ضرر ولا ضرار not only includes the affirmative rulings but also negational rulings are included. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.